Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, President Tinubu appoints Ola Olukoyede as EFCC chairman. Reactions trail expulsion of students protesting against insecurity from Gusau University. Wike's crackdown on scavengers in the FCT elicits different reactions from residents. Organization of Islamic Cooperation says Israeli military aggression against Palestinians a war crime. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for joining. And now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Ola Olukoyede to serve as the executive chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for a renewable term of 4 years in the first instance, pending Senate confirmation. A statement signed by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Gilale, said Ola Olukoyede is a lawyer with over 22 years of experience as a regulatory compliance consultant and specialist in fraud management and corporate intelligence. Olukoyede has extensive experience in the operations of the EFCC, having previously served as Chief of Staff to the Executive Chairman and Secretary to the Commission. The statement said that he fulfills the statutory requirement for appointment as Chairman of the EFCC. Ajuri says Olukoyede's appointment follows the resignation of the suspended Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdurrashid Bawa. Tinubu also appointed Muhammad Hassan to serve as the Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for a renewable term of 5 years in the first instance, pending Senate confirmation. Now, in view of the new appointment, here is a look at the profile of the new EFCC chairman.
Ola Olukoyede was born on October 14, 1969. He is a native of Ikere, Ekiti State. He had his university education at the Lagos State University, University of Lagos, Institute of Arbitration, France, and the Kennedy School of Executive Education, University of Harvard, United States. Olukoyede is a lawyer with over 22 years of experience as a regulatory compliance consultant and specialist in fraud management and corporate intelligence. Olukoyede worked at the law firm of former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo before joining the EFCC. At the EFCC, Olukoyede previously served as a Chief of Staff to the Executive Chairman Ibrahim Magu from 2016 to 2018. He served as the Secretary of the Anti-Graft Agency between 2018 and 2023. Findings also reveal that he is a pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, City of Refuge, Lagos Province 12, Shasha, Lagos State. He is a member of the Federal Government Technical Committee on the repositioning of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit.
Now, Head of Public Relations Center for Fiscal Transparency, Victor Age, joins me now via Zoom to speak to reactions trailing Olukoyede's appointment. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour tonight. Victor? All right. It appears that... all right. Well, if you can hear me, Victor, the nomination of the EFCC boss is being received with controversy already. How do you see this playing out at the Senate?
Yeah, thank you very much, Trust TV, for having me. I don't know if you hear me now.
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, the nomination of Ola Olukoyede as the EFCC man, of course, has come controversy. Controversy in the sense that, according to the Section 2 EFCC Act, someone tries to be the chairman of the EFCC is supposed to have about 15 cognate experience, either is serving a law enforcement, a retired law enforcement officer, but currently speaking, the nominee do not satisfy this area of law, and so that is why controversy is building. And so when it's to the National Assembly, we are hoping that the National Assembly look at what the law says. As a country, we really need to interrogate the fact when something is illegal, it is not unnecessary if the person is actually upright or qualified by position of the president who nominated these nominees, but must be willing to actually follow what the law says about appointment. And this is how we can actually grow our democracy. So we build anything on illegality because someone is maybe early to the president. If we continue this, then the institutions that we want to actually build will never be built. And so we hope that the Senate would ripen by actually questioning that he has not actually been, in the EFCC. It was actually a mentee. Okay. And so there's no for him to be actually nominated for that position. Yes, okay. Please.
All right. Now, the powers of the president to make appointments, according to the Constitution, is not limited to the act of the EFCC. So don't you think that the Constitution is, in this instance, should take precedence?
Well, the EFCC has an act. It was the act that establishes the EFCC, and of course, not even the Constitution. And so, if we have agreed to that act, agreed that sufficient to establish a institution called the EFCC, every part of that constitution must be. The act actually was the procedures for passing National Assembly and of course assent by the president, and so it has become a grand norm of the state of the country. So we shouldn't be talk about whether it go fast or negate what the Constitution says. By the way, what does the Constitution says? Okay, so does the Constitution allow for people who are qualified based experience?
Victor.
Okay, you wanted to say something, yes.
Yeah, so it's established that where there's a conflict between any act and the Constitution takes precedence. And in this instance, the Constitution gives the president powers to nominate anyone as far as that person is confirmed by the Senate. The only exception in that Constitution, that part of the Constitution, is with regards to permanent secretaries, and the president should make the appointments in consideration to the Federal Charter. Other than that, the president has the powers to nominate anyone.
So if we are in that position, it then means that the EFCC Act should be jettisoned. It means that we shouldn't any other act, in the country that goes, contrary to what the Constitution says. Indeed, the president has the right to nominate anybody, to any appoint a position. But again, the reasons that establishes the EFCC, the country has ratified, went through the process of the National Assembly, and it was assented by a citizen. And so, are we now saying that because the president, the Constitution gives the president the right to nominate, then he should join any other act? I don't think the position of the EFCC Act is actually negate due process, and this is what we are talking about. So, if the EFCC Act says that someone nominated into the position of the chairmanship of the commission should have about 10 years, I don't think that is difficult the president to actually. And what does this even say when it comes to encouraging people to, in the profession? I make the point that when we nominate anybody from anywhere just because the Constitution allowed the president to do so, you may be discouraging people from growing professionally. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so Victor, do you foresee if eventually, talking about hypothesis now, if the Senate decide to go ahead to confirm the presidential nominee, do you think that this will come with any moral burden that will impact on his job as the chairman of an anti-graft agency as the EFCC?
I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. Well, it is not the first time we have a president actually going against what the Constitution says. Maybe to stay in the same EFCC, I mean, yes, the former chairman of the commission has been in detention for 4 months. About 4 months now. What has happened about that? You know? And so we have leaders who don't follow due process, and at the end of the day, they get what they'll get and go away with it. And so maybe the Senate will confirm this time around, but I don't think that will place any moral burden. For him to have accepted to do the job, it means he's not thinking about the moral burden of accept role that the act actually deemed him unqualified for. So we hope that he will deliver regardless. But we are saying that due process should be followed for appointment like this if we want to our nation.
All right, thank you so much. Victor Agi, Head of Public Relations Center for Fiscal Transparency. Thank you for joining us on the News Hour tonight. Now moving on, Zamfara State says it has recorded 1,188 confirmed cases of cholera across 14 local government areas of the state. There are reported 40 suspected cases of diphtheria with 1 confirmed case of the disease in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Aisha Anka, disclosed this to journalists in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital, shortly after distributing drugs and medical consumables at Shagari Primary Healthcare Birnin-Rua as part of a response effort to curtail the outbreak. The report.
The violent conflicts perpetrated by bandits in Zamfara State resulted in the displacement of several persons, including women and children, with access to good food and clean, drinkable water remaining a challenge for them. The outbreak of cholera, with 1,188 confirmed cases, has been attributed to banditry in Zamfara. The Commissioner of Health, Aisha Anka, spoke on the state government's efforts to contain the outbreak of the disease and advised residents to keep their environment clean and sterilize their water before drinking.
Sent to Zamfara State as a support for us to be able to curtail our outbreaks, that is diphtheria and cholera, and they have been doing well. And since their arrival here, they have been up and about, looking for patients, searching for active cases, and contact tracing and others, so that we're able to see how we contain this disease so that we will not be able to affect local governments that are not already affected, and those that are affected will be able to find them and treat them.
The Commissioner also attended the mid-action review meeting with the Diphtheria National Rapid Response Team at the Public Emergency Operations Center of the Zamfara State Ministry of Health, where she commended partners and the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, for their continuous support.
And inshallah, the government is doing all it can to address all these issues, so that at least all these outbreaks that we're having, at least we will, inshallah, within a short period of time, we will notice that at least the number is going down. Inshallah, with all your support, I still want to say thank you and I want to commend you.
Anka also inspected the laboratory at the Yerima Bakura Specialist Hospital in Gusau and directed the immediate optimization of the lab to serve as a center for the control and management of diphtheria cases in the state.
Some students of the Federal University Gusau who were said to have been expelled by the university's management are appealing to the Minister of Education, Mamman Tahir, traditional rulers and other relevant stakeholders to intervene in the issue and prevail on the university's management to reverse its decision. Now, they were expelled for allegedly staging a peaceful protest to draw the attention of the management and the federal government to the incessant abduction of their colleagues at Dambam and Sabangida areas of Gusau and Bungudu local government areas of Zamfara State. The report.
The expelled students denied claims by the university's management that their protest was violent, pointing out that even when the Vice-Chancellor Muazu Abubakar Gusau came to address them, they were calm and respectfully presented their demands to him.
In the expulsion letter, it was written that we attempted to protest on Monday. The one on Monday was a plea and it was an appeal in which we were happy the way the dean spoke to us and we appreciated him and all left for our exams.
And we had a peaceful protest that day, and the school management called us to face a panel, and which we all did. They invited us to face the panel, and we all went and faced the panel. So along the line, towards August, they expelled some of us, which were among the protests.
They also stated that the peaceful protest was not in any way to give the institution a bad name, but to press on the university's management to take necessary security measures to protect them against bandits' abduction.
At least the government will come to our aid, the security agencies will come to our aid. They will come and help us. They will come and help us build fences, build school hostels. At least when we are together in one place and we are friends.
The school management should look into the expulsion letter to take it off, and the people around here should help us. The management, the education management sector should help us look into this matter to take off the expulsion letter and recall us back.
Among the students that were expelled are Rejoice Billy Gugas, 400-level students of the Department of Plant Science and Biotechnology, Abdusalam Abdurazak Onimisi, 300-level student of Computer Science, Thomas Zahiri, 200-level student of Computer Science, Georgina Blues, 400-level student of Education Biology, and Prince McDanis, 300-level student of Plant Science.
The Defense Headquarters says troops have neutralized 50 terrorists and apprehended 114 others within a week in various operations across northeast, north central, and the northwestern part of the country. The Director, Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Buba, made this known while briefing journalists on the operations of the armed forces on Thursday in Abuja. He said troops of Operation Hadinkai in the northeast had sustained onslaught against Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa Province terrorists, leading to the surrender of some of their fighters in Borno and Yobe. Buba said that the troops also recovered 17 AK-47 rifles, one AK-47 rifle loaded with 21 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammo, one hand grenade, 137 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammo, and 4 mobile phones. Buba said troops of Operation Safe Haven in the north central and while on fighting patrol arrested suspected kidnappers in Kanam and Sanga local government areas of Plateau and Kaduna State within the period. In the northwest, Buba said the troops of Operation Hadarindaji had conducted fighting patrol and neutralized terrorists in Katsina, Kaduna and Zamfara. He added that 9 terrorists were neutralized, 12 arrested, and 25 kidnapped victims rescued. Gunmen suspected to be ethnic militia have attacked Dindango Market in Karim Lamido local government area of Taraba State and killed 2 persons. Similarly, several persons were wounded and items worth millions of naira carted away during the attack. A resident of the town, Yakubu Adamu, in a telephone interview said that the attackers, numbering over 200 and armed with sophisticated weapons, attacked the town on Wednesday, which is a market day. He said that they launched a surprise attack at about 9 p.m. According to Adamu, the attack was countered by youths in the town and forced the militia to run back to their village located about 4 kilometers from Didango. Another resident, Bello, said that the attack was an attempt to reignite fresh ethnic conflict in the area. Spokesperson of the Taraba Police Command, SP Usman Abdullahi, confirmed the incident but said that 1 person was killed and 5 people wounded. Still on security matters, bandits have killed a villager who delivered a ransom to them in Kaduna, leaving the residents of Kidandang village in Giwa local government area of the state in shock. The victim, Abdullahi Haruna, was a member of the first aid of Fitiyanul Islam, who volunteered to deliver the ransom to secure the release of a villager held by the bandits. Daily Trust reporter in Kaduna, Muhammad Yaba, gives us an update.
Okay, well, presently the community were left in shock when yesterday, around 2 p.m., the man who happens to be a kind of a member of Fitiyan group decided to volunteer to go and deliver the ransom demanded by the bandit after kidnapping one of the villagers in the area, that is in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State. Unfortunately, when he gets there, the venue given to him by the bandit to deliver the ransom, as according to sources, was a Travelai village, which was also located in same Giwa local government area, and that is in Kidende town. Then, when the bandit arrived on their motorcycle, they decided to, after collecting the ransom which the deceased delivered, they counted the money, then and then asked him to join them on the bike. But he was said to have resisted, telling them that he was only there to deliver the ransom and get the person in their captivity. But he was not there to follow them to anywhere. Then, according to a source in the community, confirmed to Trust TV that after a kind of few minutes argument between him and them, they decided to shoot him and left him in his cold blood there, right there in the village, and left. And this happened in the presence of some of the villagers who are said to be in a bit far away from where the incident occurred. So far, there was no official statement from the state government and neither from the police command, as all efforts to reach the public relation officer of the police command, ASP myself, Hassan, proof abortive. But I also spoke to a member of the community by the name Jalilu, who confirmed that Savonai village in Kidendan under Giwa has become a ransom collecting center for this bandit, because it was a kind of it was located in a hilly environment, and also that is very, very close to the Kidendan or Giwa forest, as he put it. Presently, like I said, the community, people are a bit apprehensive following the incident because it happened in the afternoon. And according to them, there are no security, there are no deployment of security agencies around that area, which is why the bandits are taking advantage of the village to ask people to come and deliver their ransom there. So it's like they are operating with impunity, with no any challenge in that community.
The Independent National Electoral Commission says results of the November 11 Bayelsa State governorship election will be transmitted from the polling units via the INEC Results Viewing Portal, IREF. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Obo Efanga, said this at the Professor Mahmoud Yakubu Media Center, INEC Yenogwa, at a forum with critical election stakeholders in preparation for the 2023 governorship election in the state. Friday, Ebi Moboe Peter has more.
According to Obo Efanga, a publication which claimed that INEC will transmit the governorship election result in the state manually was false, promising that INEC would employ the IREV portal for the election. He further states that the meeting was to provide a platform for stakeholders to get updates on the preparedness of INEC to conduct a transparent and credible governorship election in the state.
Some news reports claimed that INEC said we will no longer do transmission of election results, that is not true. Transmission of election results, what that means is that election, when it is finished at the polling unit, a snapshot of the result of that election, the result sheet of that election is taken using the BVAS. This is uploaded to the IREV, and that is what transmission means.
The State Commissioner of Police CP Tolani Alausa said the command is determined to ensure a peaceful electioneering process in the state. The command will be deploying 27,000 personnel that will be working with other security agencies to provide security in the state during the election. The chairman of the State Traditional Rulers Council, King Bobraye Dakolo, represented by King Solomon Mangi, the Benanawi of Kuluama Kingdom, urged politicians and their candidate to promote peace during the election.
That we have started putting a lot of strategies in place to ensure that we have a free, fair, and credible election. But I want to assure the citizens of Bayelsa State that we are poised to provide adequate security for all and sundry. Will be sending me not less than 27,000 police officers and men will be coming into Bayelsa before the elections.
If the electoral officers do their job and the security agencies are on their toes, then we can now achieve this peace.
The state PDP chairman Solomon Agwanana and his counterpart from YPP Sonny Pere Agadabiri and the governorship candidate of both party Ambassador Victor Ben asked INEC to live up to expectations, expressing their dissatisfaction with INEC conduct in the February election in the state.
So we are urging them to keep up to their own promise and their commitment. And if you say INEC is transparent in their preparedness, I don't think so. Looking at the past elections, that is why I charged the Electoral Commissioner of Bayelsa State to do something more different.
INEC must ensure a position of neutrality, because without them maintaining that in the forthcoming election, if there is any perceived rumor of INEC taking side, that will give reasons for a problem.
The resident electoral commissioner pledges to improve from the past elections, adding that the commission had already commenced training ahead of the election. Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
President Bola Tinubu has asked the Supreme Court to dismiss the appeal by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, challenging the February 25 election. In his reply, Tinubu's lawyers, led by Wole Olanipekun SAN, asked the Apex Court to dismiss Atiku's appeal for abuse of court process. He also argued that it is lacking in merit, adding that he had only sought the reliefs targeted at the president without canvassing issues that will benefit them in their final written addresses. Atiku had, in his appeal, asked the Apex Court to overturn the judgment of the Presidential Election Petitions Court for being perverse in its conclusion that he failed to prove the allegations of irregularities, malpractices, non-compliance with the electoral laws and guidelines. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly. NEMA warns residents of flood-prone areas to relocate to safer grounds. Details and more after the break. This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
As a demonstration of its commitment to provide sustained access to basic healthcare for all Nigerians, the Federal Government of Nigeria, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has established the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is designed to deploy Operations Fund directly to primary healthcare facilities in every political ward nationwide to ensure the availability of quality PHC services to all Nigerians, irrespective of where they live or work. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund guarantees 24 hours availability of midwives, other health workers, and health supplies in at least one PHC in every political ward. Ask from your local government health department for the BHCPF PHC in your ward to get more information and benefit from the services. Think access to healthcare for all. Think universal health coverage. Think Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722 or visit www.nphcda.gov.ng.
Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. A look at the top stories again. President Tinubu appoints Ola Olukoyede as EFCC chairman. Reactions trail expulsion of students protesting against insecurity from Gusau University. Now, as authorities in the Federal Capital Territory continue to crack down on some identified scavengers colony in the territory, some residents in Kubwa town have been speaking about their experiences on activities of the scavengers, while some residents have complained about theft of property by the scavengers, popularly known as Babambola. Others called on the authorities to introduce the services of refuse collectors in communities before clamping down on them. The report.
About a month ago, Joint Security Task Force raided a scavengers colony located around Nipa Road around Kubwa axis, burning down the facility and arresting some of the scavengers who refused to cooperate. Joseph Yakubu, an automatic mechanic in Kubwa town of the FCT, said he was worried about how some of the scavengers engage in stealing by sneaking into neighborhood as early as 5 a.m. and taking away residents' belongings. He shared his experience of how he lost some items inside the mechanic workshop where he operates to some of the scavengers.
If you are Bababola, you're supposed to at least, if you want to come out, at least supposed to come out like 10 o'clock. That time, everybody is around. So before 6, 5 o'clock, Bababola do come out. It's not supposed.
Some residents who spoke about the good side of the scavengers charged the authorities to provide an alternative place for them before clamping down on their colonies. They described some of the scavengers as hardworking people who move from house to house to collect refuse and move them into designated dump sites.
Definitely sure they have their bad side. Some of them pilfered, leave some things in their houses or any other thing. But at least for government to say outrightly that's like that they are doing out with them. So how do you dissuade our waste individually?
Trust TV visited a designated refuse dump site in Kubwa, popularly known as Gidambola or scavengers colony in the area. The scavengers there are usually seen trooping in with their loaded trucks, while recyclable items are being sorted out and sold to recycling merchants that transport them to recycling firms within and outside the FCT. Musa Ali is one of the scavengers working in the facility. He urged on the FCT authorities to transform them into refuse collection workers, going by their experience instead of banning them from doing their business without any alternative.
If the government is not going to help us as scavengers that we are, it should rather let us continue with our business. As a northerner, I choose to stay here and make it, then go anywhere else.
Rabesh Aliu is the manager in charge of the dump site, who also houses the wooden rooms owned by the scavengers there. He spoke on how the facility came in place and how it's being operated.
Our boys here will go out with their trucks and bring them for different houses to avoid the pollution, blockages of waterways out the rest.
Trust TV visited one of the recycling hubs located off the Abuja-Kaduna Highway in Suleja Area Council in Niger State, where one of the industry's players lamented how the crackdown on scavengers is affecting their businesses.
And now the recycling again from the scavengers, now we are finding it difficult to get. And we are begging on government to look into it. That is not the solution to the problem entirely.
Though opinions are divided on the good and bad sides of the scavengers, the FCT administration says its clampdown on them is to sanitize the city and rid it of criminal elements.
The European Union says it is partnering Nigeria's federal government to enhance opportunities in education and skill development for youths with a focus on employment and livelihood prospects. The partnership, according to the EU, aims to foster cooperation between the public and the private sectors. Habibat Ajayi has more.
The partnership between the federal government and the European Union is specifically posed to bolster Nigeria's education management information system, with 40 million euro. The primary focus is on education and youth empowerment in the northwestern region of Nigeria, with special attention on girls residing in rural and undeserved areas. This initiative marks its debut in Nigeria and comprises 3 distinct phases, offering support to educators at various levels. The European Union ambassador to Nigeria, Samuela Ifsopi, saying negotiating bilateral agreements on science, innovation, and research finds a fertile ground in Nigeria.
The objective would really be to support you, the Honorable Minister, to support the state government in increasing the number of boys and girls, in particular, let me highlight girls, that will benefit from safe, inclusive, and relevant learning and skill development opportunities, with a specific focus on accelerated education for out-of-school children. Good results that we expect from this program. We will continue our cooperation, and we will continue to support you in the development, in the reform, in strengthening the education system and providing education opportunities for Nigerian children.
Minister of Education Tahir Mamman lauded the European Union for their support and assured the administration's willingness to welcome public-private partnership that contributing to achieving sustainable goals.
Investing in young men, in particular the young girls, is investing in the present and the future of the country. If we don't treat them well, empower them, create suitable environment for their education, that will be a problem for us. It's already beginning to show as a problem. So for us to focus on them now is addressing the future of this country. Something that is very important because the future of the country depends on research and innovation.
The partnership between both parties is an indication of their dedication to achieving sustainable goals for the nation. Abibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The International Press Institute of Nigeria on Wednesday began a 2-day training for senior journalists in Lagos. The training focused on how to avoid strategic lawsuit against public participation, also known as SLAP suits, and remain ethical in the profession. The report.
Senior journalists gathered for a 2-day training in Lagos to discuss the problem of unprofessional conduct and how to safeguard the profession and its practitioners. IPI Nigerian Board Chairman and Chairman of the Media Trust Group, Kabir Yusuf, urged participants to pay attention to ethical issues in course of their practice. IPI Nigerian President Mojid Musikulu said the training was to discuss the problem of unethical conduct and how to make the media better in terms of professionalism.
We observed that there has been a lot of lawsuits against the media, lawsuits that are disrupting operation of the media, stifling the media, and we thought it's important that we call the leaders of major newsrooms across the country to a meeting like this where we can discuss the problem and find a way to navigate them so that the media can be better.
Former media aide to ex-President Muhammadu Buhari, Difemi Adesina, however, emphasized that for a journalist to be a professional, there has to be a continuous training with basic requirements and qualifications.
For journalism to be professional, there has to be training. There has to be capacity building, continuous training. I think even the profession itself is already self-regulating. It's self-regulating. You cannot be a journalist without certain basic requirements and qualifications.
Former SA Media to ex-President Buhari, President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Eze Anaba, however, advised journalists to be as professional as possible in the discharge of their duties.
Brilliant. There's nothing as good as talking about problems and constantly looking for solution. All right. So what we are doing here is solution-driven conference, which I like. You know, tomorrow, by the grace of God, I'll be here for experts like this talk about our industry, so that we all pull heads together to find a way out of our predicament.
President Nigerian Guild of Editors, a communication and development specialist, Abigail Ogizi Indusika, who went through the media court of ethics with the journalists and joined them to interpret, report the truth, strive for accuracy, fairness and disclosure of facts while trying to avoid suppressing pertinent facts. Musa Luka, Trust TV.
Our stakeholders believe that empowering the youth to realize their full potential can stimulate economic growth and propel the country to its rightful leadership position. This comes to the fore at an empowerment program organized by the Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency, SMEDEN. Noel Samson reports.
Youth empowerment programs are aimed at creating healthier and higher qualities of life for underprivileged or at-risk youth. The 5 competencies of a healthy youth are positive sense of self, self-control, decision-making skills, a moral system of belief, and pro-social connectedness. SMEDEN believes that an empowered young person recognizes his capabilities, self-determination, and what? Youth feel comfortable trying new things. They have the confidence to take risks and are aware that failure is a step towards progress, not a sign to give up.
Youth empowerment is what we need. In Nigeria we have a youth boys, and we must take advantage. And this is a digital training. So the world is going digital. We don't want to be left behind. And this training is not only for Abuja. Across the country, we've trained about 2,000 people on how to take advantage of digital platforms to do business.
We are at the moment looking at the whole ecosystem concerning small businesses to see what we can do in terms of either creating new laws or amending existing laws to make the whole ecosystem conducive, attractive, and then friendly to small businesses.
We know that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, and if we don't empower them now, then there's no need for us to have a greater leader in the future. And because of this, the Director General is so passionate about how we can empower these youths so that they can go out there to give in their best.
Some youths who benefited from such great youth empowerment programs have commended their approach.
I learned a lot about digital marketing, how to promote my services, that is my goods and services, my products. I learned a lot. That is online, using digital media channels like social media handles, websites, telephone, and any other channels that can digital my products.
Insightful, it has been inspiring. There are some basic things about digital technology and digital business and digital trade that you would not expect to know, that they cleared out, that they explained beautifully here. This program has been very, very nice. The facilitators, the runners, the lecturers, they have been wonderful.
Improved social skills, improved behavior, increased academic accomplishments, increased self-esteem, and increased self-efficiency are byproducts of youth empowerment programs. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The House of Representatives Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission on Thursday asked nominees for positions of chairman and members of the board of the commission to take a bow and go. The committee said that the board members were enjoying the privilege always extended to the former members of the National Assembly appointed into executive positions. The report.
It is the tradition of the Federal Legislature for former members of the National Assembly appointed into executive positions to take a bow and go whenever they are coming for screening. On Wednesday, 4th of October 2023, the nominees had appeared before the Senate and were screened at the Committee of the Whole. The motion to allow them to take a bow and go was moved by the Minority Whip of the House, Ali J.C. Issa, who commended the President for appointing some former members of the National Assembly to serve in the NDDC board.
As a member of House of Representatives or a senator, whether through documentation or integrity test, so we have confidence of every nominee that was a member of National Assembly will represent the country very well, and we will also be a good ambassador of the National Assembly.
The House Majority Leader, Julius Ihove, said he was confident that members of the new board have the capacity to deliver on their new role and urged them not to disappoint.
This is a new calling, and we're all familiar with the crises, conflicts, contradictions, insinuations, challenges that the NDDC has gone through over the years. We believe that this new crop will make a difference.
Chairman of the committee, Iburi Suenu Eyacheke, said the screening process for confirmation was in fulfillment of the provisions of Section 2, Subsection 2A of the NDDC Act 2000.
Honorable colleagues, today we screened the same nominees in the same manner they were screened in the Senate at the Senate Committee of the Whole. Thereafter, the committee shall make recommendations to the House for their confirmation.
The nominees who were screened and cleared are to be confirmed by the House at the Committee of the Whole.
The Gombe State Emergency Management Agency is warning residents of flood-prone areas in the state to relocate to safer grounds. This is coming days after homes were destroyed in Hayinkori, Misau and Datunkoa areas of the state. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
More than 50 houses around this axis have been destroyed by flood, rendering dozens of residents homeless. Most of these people have lost all their belongings in the incident, but some are lucky to pick up a few pieces.
We
were asleep when the flood hit during a heavy downpour by 2 a.m. in the morning, but were trapped in the water. We were advised to climb a wall, but it fell on my chest, and later we climbed a tree to save our lives. I have a back pain. Although Jummai and other residents here believe their houses are not on waterways, it is clear that this location is prone to floods. Gombe State Emergency Management Agency says it has intensified campaigns against building structures on waterways.
We want to appeal to our people. If one acquired a plot of land and if you want to build, if you want to erect your building, please try and contact the professionals. They are there for us. Don't just come and make and erect your building anyhow. Try and meet the professionals. They are there at the Urban Development Authority. They will guide you. They will instruct you accordingly so as to shine away from building on flood-prone areas.
The same official also urged residents to shun blockade of waterways because it is an action which contributes to flooding. Like some parts of the north, Gombe State has been experiencing flooding which has been claiming lives and properties. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Time now to take a look at Business Update with Chamaka Mwafo.
The Central Bank of Nigeria on Thursday restored the 43 items prohibited from access to foreign exchange 8 years after. This was disclosed in a statement by the CBN's Director of Corporate Communications, Issa Abdul Mumin. The Apex Bank said it is committed to accelerating efforts to clear the FX backlog with existing participants and will continue dialogue with stakeholders to address the issue. According to the statement, the CBN has set the attainment of a single FX market as one of its goals. Recall that the CBN on July 1st, 2015 restricted the availability of foreign exchange to the importation of 41 items which could be competitively produced within the economy. Nigeria produced 1.5 million barrels per day of crude oil in September 2023. This is the highest level of production since the start of the year. This is according to the data from the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. According to the NUPRC, the volume of crude oil pumped in September was 1.5 million barrels per day. With the addition of crude oil and condensate production, the figure is 1.5 million barrels but without condensate production, 1.3 million. The latter is still the highest so far in 2023. Recall that the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, has said that Nigeria's condensate production should be added to monthly crude production figures and reported as such. Despite achieving the highest figures of oil production at 1.3 million barrels per day, excluding condensate, in 2023, Nigeria is still falling short of its 1.7 million barrels per day quota set by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
And away from Nigeria, the wife of Gabon's deposed president Ali Bongo Ondimba, under house arrest since a coup in the Central African country in late August, has been jailed, her lawyer said on Thursday. Sylvia Bongo Ondimba Valentine, suspected of allegedly embezzling public funds, was jailed late on Wednesday. Her lawyer, Francois Zemere, said while condemning the arbitrary illegal procedure. Bongo's wife was charged on September 28 with money laundering, forgery, and falsification of records. Sylvia Bongo has been under house arrest in the capital, Libreville, since the August 30 coup brought the curtain down on 55 years of Bongo dynasty rule. The putschists alleged the former head of state and his entourage falsified the election's results. They accused Sylvia Bongo and her son, Nuruddin Bongo Valentine, of manipulating the former president, who has not fully recovered from a serious stroke in 2018. Nuruddin Bongo Valentine has been placed in detention since the coup, charged with corruption. And now, still on the foreign scene, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation has in strong terms condemned the ongoing Israeli military aggression against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip for the sixth day in a row, killing more than 1,200 people. The IOC says Israelis' brutal actions on civilian populations have been inflicting injuries to thousands of unsuspecting Palestinians, including women and children, and destroying residential buildings, civilian facilities, infrastructure, hospitals, schools, places of worship, and United Nations facilities. In a statement on Thursday, the organization labeled Israel attacks as inhumane. It also called on the international community to intervene urgently to force Israel to stop its ongoing attacks against the Palestinian people immediately, and to ensure the opening of humanitarian corridors to facilitate the entry of medicines and food supplies and basic needs to the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Israel said on Thursday there will be no humanitarian break to its siege of the Gaza Strip until all its hostages were freed, after the Red Cross pleaded for fuel to be allowed to prevent overwhelmed hospitals from turning into morgues. Israel has vowed to annihilate the Hamas movement that rules the Gaza Strip in retribution for the deadliest attack on Jews since the Holocaust, when hundreds of gunmen poured across the barrier fence and rampaged through Israeli towns on Saturday. The gunmen killed at least 1,200 people, mostly civilians, gunned down in their homes or on the streets, and carried scores of hostages back to Gaza. Israel's Energy Minister, Israel Katz, said that there will be no exceptions to the siege without freedom for Israeli hostages. Now, glowing tributes continue to pour in 10 days after the death of Emeritus Professor Umaru Shehu, a popular Nigerian academic and professor of medicine. In this report, Kabiru Matazu chronicles the life and times of the late professor, who died at the age of 97.
Professor Umaru Shehu, from humble beginnings to global fame. Renowned professor of community health, Umar Shehu was one of the most influential academics and medical doctors from northern Nigeria. Perhaps one of his most worthy advocacies was for the safety of polio vaccines in 2003, when 5 northern states boycotted the oral polio vaccine due to fears over safety. As a young lecturer and 3-time vice-chancellor, Shehu served as vice-chancellor at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka from 1978 to 1980, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and University of Maiduguri. His award flags tell a story of an icon of community health in Nigeria and his service to humanity. Born in Maiduguri in December 1930, Shehu was the first of 2 children. They lived a very humble life as orphans under the care of their paternal mother. He started his educational journey at elementary and middle schools in Maiduguri. His first sojourn out of Maiduguri was to Kaduna College in Zaria, famous Bariwa College Zaria, then University College Ibadan. He also spent time at the University of Liverpool and obtained his medical degree from the University of London. Following his death, colleagues from various places grieved the loss.
Today is just a day that we are not happy and we cannot say anything. We all what we have to say is to pray for Allah to forgive him and receive him and reward him with Jannatul al-Firdaus.
He wasn't just a colleague, he was an elder in the university, a professor emeritus, and this is someone who has contributed a lot in the development of the university system in Nigeria.
Professor will forever remain fresh in the hearts of many who witness his contributions. The professor will be notably remembered for his fight against misinformation surrounding the use of polio vaccines in 2003. His contribution came to fruition by October 2020 when the World Health Organization declared and placed Nigeria on the list of polio-free countries in the world. Shehu was also one of the global experts who participated in the smallpox eradication campaign, which was officially declared eradicated globally in 1980. His family, domestic and office staff, and colleagues continue grieving his death.
He's the greatest dad any child can wish for. He's amazing. And, he's been everything to us, and we'll always be ever grateful to the Almighty Allah to have given us a father and who has stayed with us all this life, even to the point that we have given them grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
The death of the Professor Emeritus Omorisho is not only a loss to his immediate family, but to the state and the whole nations. He has held so many positions, nationally and internationally. May the Almighty Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus.
The memories of the life he positively impacted will linger in the heart and minds of generations to come.
All right, now, just before we go, here is an update on the sports. Nigeria have been drawn in Group A of the AFCON 2023 draws conducted a few minutes ago in Cote d'Ivoire. The Super Eagles, who will look to win Africa's biggest football competition for a record 4 times, will face host Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, and Equatorial Guinea in Group A of the tournament. AFCON 2023 will kick off on the 13th of January to 11th of February 2024 with 24 teams participating. And that's a wrap on the news hour tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.